welcome. Once again, you're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
My name is Paul B. He's Buddi3 Da Gawd. Thanks to all the chat chimers, ghost listeners, and radio listeners that's coming in this morning. Really appreciate everybody who is joining us. We have a jam-packed day full of news. It's the first day of our coming back from the break. So this is season 1B is what we're calling it. And the topic of this season is going to be journalism as activism, going back to one. Talking about how we need to be, all need to be citizen journalists that can hold people accountable. And it's very important in this day and age. And that's what it is. Buddy, how you doing?
Man, I'm good, man. Glad to be back. Excited about the changes for 1B. And just excited about the future of First Sky Omaha. I'll just put it like that, man. Definitely glad to be back. Good morning, everybody. If you're just now tuning in, big shout out to the early crew. Again, if you're just now catching us, we're having some few changes. Actually, we started about 10 minutes early, to get the hellos and everything. So big shout out to everybody who, hit that notification, who gets alerted when we come on live, no matter when that happens. So big shout out to y'all. We actually kind of tested that out over the break. Had a conversation with Brother Hassani Lee. Had a few people pop in on us. So again, we are ramping things up. We're trying different things. So again, this is a great time to go ahead and click that notification button, tap in, and try to stay on top of when we pop up, because we'll be doing some different things this season. Excited. How about you, man?
Doing good. Had a good time over the break. We got a lot of work done over the break. Didn't get nearly as much work done as we thought we'd get, but we got a lot done. So there's still some big things, big changes. I'm also very excited about the future of First Sky Omaha, what we're doing, and how we're changing things up. And this is the first change up. We get on 10 minutes before 7 now. So the chosen few, the chat chimers, the First Sky fam, we can kind of get our hellos and how you doings out of the way and start hard at 7 o'clock with the news. And there's some reasons for that we will talk about when we get into what the changes will be for season 1B. And as a matter of fact, is that on the agenda?
Yes, sir.
Let's dive in.
Yeah. So again, also in addition to starting early, one of the changes will be this first hour will kind of be more of a presentation, more self-contained. Again, we want to get straight to the news, want to deliver it to you. And so, those who are just looking for the news, because some people, not everybody's here for the conversation. Big shout out to all the chat chimers. But, we also have ghost listeners, monitoring spirits, also tuning in, people who's just on their way trying to get the news. So we'll definitely be focusing more on that and less on the chat on the first hour. But again, second hour will be more of what y'all are used to, more conversation, more engagement, more looseness, if you will. But our focus for now is keeping the first hour tight. So it's definitely one of the changes for season 1B. As you mentioned, Paul, you can kind of get into that. We've been talking to Brother King about doing some things with this first hour.
Yeah. We're working on trying to tighten this up like the old school radio show that we started on Mind and Soul back in the day. We kind of had a really tight hour, and this what we're doing at First Sky Omaha did turn into a more of a conversation, which is absolutely needed. We realized that it morphed into this because nobody's really doing this. We're reaching out and talking to the people, 2 hours a day, 3 days a week. And that's a lot of discussion. That's a lot of round tabling for the city, and hopefully it's making a difference in everybody's life and decisions, and how we're informed and so on and so forth, and also how we take action, because that's really been a part of this too. And we'll definitely continue to do that, but we also have to structure some things so that we can kind of broaden our reach as well, and get more people in to check us out. More people are ghost listeners than our chat chimers.
Yes.
So we're recognizing that the chat chimer situation is kind of an exclusive kind of First Sky Omaha family situation. We kind of work these things out together, and then we have the ammunition to go out and kind of fight and act on those things once we talk about it. But we also are into presenting the news, and so we have to kind of do that as well, because there is a big news desert happening, especially in the Black community, especially in the Black and brown communities of East Omaha. So we appreciate everybody coming in. Judy Printer says, welcome back, family. Appreciate that very much. Wanda Lewis gives us a good morning. Heather Williams says, good morning, everyone. Also, Anthony Rogers Wright, he said, I was wondering, y'all, that CPT regulation. Yeah. For those of you just joining us, we are starting at 6:50 now on Mondays and Wednesdays, so that we can kind of get our hellos and how you doings out of the way, and then start at 7 o'clock with the news, diving into the news, so that we can really kind of, appeal to a broader audience as well. So those of you that feel like your First Guy Omaha fam and chat chimers, come on in a little early so we can say our hellos. Marianne Williams is coming in and saying good morning. Welcome back. Appreciate you
Hey,
very much. Thanks for everybody coming back. Appreciate everybody coming on through. It's always a little bit of a question sometimes. We're like, we take 4 weeks off. Anybody gonna come back when we get back?
man, did they move on? Find something new? Y'all let us know.
Let us know. So appreciate that very much. So Buddy talked about some of the changes. The first change we're talking about is this coming on at 6:50 for the First Guy Omaha fam chat chimers for the hellos, and we started a hard 7 o'clock, and structuring that 7 o'clock hour more like a radio show because we're moving towards that.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get that going sooner than later, so that we can kind of collaborate with our other media people out here with radio channels and everything. So that's a part of it. And then, like you said, second hour will be more of a conversation, more the way that it usually is with us, kind of keeping things loose and having a discussion about what's going on in the news. So that's one of the first changes. Second change, big change is happening with us this season is we're only going to do Mondays and Wednesdays for First Guy Omaha in the morning discussion show.
Yep, you heard it.
And that is because we're working on a Friday broadcast of some more news, recap of news, and kind of recap of some of the things that we've talked about on Mondays and Wednesdays. So as far as the live show is concerned, it's going to be Monday, Wednesday, and the pre-recorded show is going to be dropping on Friday. That's the new change that we're doing there. So
Yep. Also a big change before we get into today's headlines is us really pushing the narrative of what First Guy Omaha is. It kind of has dawned on me, and it seems, and y'all let me know if you agree with this or this is your perspective. But it seems as if First Guy Omaha, like this, what you see now, this morning show isn't just First Guy Omaha. Like we have a full situation, and we are rolling it out again. If you haven't been tuning into the radio station, definitely check that out. We have a Roku channel that we're definitely working on. Have some other projects coming up over the next few months that we'll be working on with that we're very, very excited about. Also, if you remember our content creators camp, big shout out. I know we have Marlon Harrison, who's one of the content creators. We will be bringing that back with a little more focus. So again, definitely excited about all the big changes, not just the morning show, but a lot of the things that we've been working on really over the years. We've been, kind of mentioning it and talking about it. But to roll it out the way it needs to be rolled out takes time. And the time's near. The time
Yep.
is near.
The time is now 7:08 right now. If you believe in the concept of time,
Hey.
yeah. What you got for us, buddy?
Yeah. So speaking of that, let's go ahead and dive into the topics of the day. Again, a lot of things went down over the break. A lot of things happening right now. So big shout out to all those in the community getting down. One of the big things did get to catch Sister Ashley Spivey and the opening of her building, the IB Black Girl building right there on the Deuce. And they wasted no time, man. This being reported out of Channel 3, again, IB Black Girl, and also local organization Breeze Brainiacs Child Care are teaming up to work with local businesses in the industry to gain resources and maintain successful business in the area of child care. Again, if you haven't been able to go check out the IB Black Girl building, please go do so. Big shout out to hopefully former or new Senator Ashley Spivey very soon. Yeah. A lot of things
great.
happening with that. Yep. Also, in a quick mention, if you are struggling with your MUD and OPPD utility bill, there is some assistance out there. Again, MUD and OPPD utility assistance is available. There are a few stipulations that you have to meet, though. So if you are interested in this, all you have to do is provide proof of income, proof of unexpected expense, provide a member's name, household member's name. Your name must be on the account, and bill must be $500 or less. So again, if you fall within some of those stipulations and may need some utility assistance, again, it is available through MUD and OPPD. You can call 402-257-1122. Again, that's 402-257-1122, and all counties are assisted. So again, regardless of what county you live in. Also, in the other news, and we'll be getting into this a little later on, but state audits coming down. Actually, a couple state audits coming down. Big shout out again to all of you on the chat chimers and on the Friends of First Guy Omaha on Facebook. Still staying active even during the break, dropping articles in there. One of the big ones, of course, looking at Health and Human Services. State audit has blasted them for wildly excessive overpayments of child care subsidies. Speaking of child care, again, over almost $12 million being spent on double payments, fraudulent claims from child care providers. Yeah. Again, DHHS, man, although it's a new season, same old problems with DHHS. Also, if you caught the end of last season, we did get the chance to speak with, again, although this is a national story, there's a connection to Omaha with the Wells family. Big shout out to brother Sherman Wells and his cousin Karen Wells, who is the mother of brother Amir Locke. Again, this is making national headlines as that story is continuing. The family actually just got a huge victory in their civil lawsuit against the city and the police force for the shooting of their son, the murder of their son, if you will. Again, big headlines. The court has ruled that that lawsuit will move forward. There was an attempt to block and dismiss the lawsuit, but again, court show a motion to dismiss the case was denied on Monday. So huge news. I will be getting into that a little later on. But of course, the biggest news of the day, Trump. Got to talk about Trump at some point. Again, there's impacts, there's implications. The Trump effect is real. We've been talking about it for several years here on the show. Again, failed assassination attempt on Trump just days ago over the weekend, and I'm sure a lot of you had that's the dominating story on social media and everywhere. Actually, went to Nebraska Examiner, to prepare for this show, and yeah, that story is all over the place. So again, those are the topics that we'll be getting into today. As always, if there's anything that we might have missed or some breaking news, feel free to drop that into the chat. In the meantime, between time, what say you?
Yeah. Appreciate you guys coming on in. Again, we got a new format going on, season 1B. Our season 1B is back to the beginning. So we're talking about journalism as activism. And this is going to be a huge topic for us. So we appreciate everybody coming in. For those of you that are chat chimers, the First Guy Omaha fan, we started 10 minutes early today, started at 6:50. And so we can get our hellos and how you doings out of the way. So we can start hard 7 o'clock with the news and everything that we're going to be getting into today. So appreciate everybody that has come in early. Mama God's in the house. Good morning. See you. She says, are they going to audit OHA? It's a good question. We're going to definitely talk about that coming up. Kimmer's in the house, says, missed you too, Kimmer. Appreciate you coming on in this morning. And she's giving us a good morning as well. So, man, Sean McCarthy in the house. Morning, everyone. Welcome back. Thank you. Yeah, appreciate you guys coming in. So definitely bear with us as we work through these new changes that we're doing on the show so that we can try to get more information, disseminate more information out, and also get into the discussion. Hang around for the second hour. That's going to be where we do a lot more loose discussion on some of these topics that we're talking about now. And also, we failed to mention today, we got special guest Stephen Zivny in the house that's going to be coming in a little bit later on in the show as well. He's coming in from the city's lead initiative and is going to talk to us a little bit about what's all involved in the testing. We're still really working with them to try to help get the lead out of the yards in North Omaha at big time too. So it'd be good to have somebody, a professional on to come on and talk about what's going on with that initiative. And so stay tuned for him as well. Yeah, appreciate that.
Big time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, let's go ahead and dive into it, man. Again, getting straight to the news. Big shout out to everybody who has been dropping stories in the Friends of First Guy Omaha page. If anybody listening wants to go back and read the articles for yourself and kind of look more into them, feel free to visit the Friends of First Guy Omaha page to catch those articles. If you're not already a member of the group, definitely check us out. But again, I want to start off with Mama God actually kind of tipping us off to the topic. Speaking of audits, not necessarily OHA, but several government agencies have been audited. One of the big ones, of course, Border Parole. Again, a few chat chimers have shared this on the Friends of First Sky page. Use of state cars for personal commutes has been brought into question by State Auditor Mike Foley, who's been pretty busy lately. This coming out of Nebraska Examiner, though, again, state auditors apparently used GPS tracking data to uncover inappropriate personal use of state cars by Nebraska parole officers, exposing about 300 unapproved trips and more than 9,000 miles over a year's time. Again, Nebraska State Auditor Mike Foley said the problematic use was especially striking as the dozens of offenders pointed out are government employees whose jobs are to meet with and help former inmates stay on the straight and narrow path. So again, them kind of stepping out of their zone is quite a cause for concern. Actually, Foley says, in a sense, they have to set an example themselves, obey the laws and respect state property. He also noted, as did an audit released this week, that personal use of state-owned vehicles is a misdemeanor under Nebraska law. So again, this is not only a misuse of tax dollars, it's breaking the law. It's breaking the law. And when questioned by auditors during this process, a Board of Parole representatives reportedly said they had no knowledge of the problem activity. In a response in the final report, board representatives said they will aim to implement the auditing team's recommendations, including documenting purposes of all travel with the state vehicle and banning commutes to and from home without proper authorization. Also, among improprieties brought up by auditors was the parole officer's 243-mile trip while not on the clock to attend a retirement celebration in Lincoln. Another 16 times employees were not getting paid for work but drove a state car to a personal event. Again, Foley says, certainly you can't use a state vehicle on your day off to go to a retirement party. So again, just a tip of the iceberg as far as use of state dollars. But although this season 1B is activism is journalism, we're still following the money. Still following the money.
Always, always. Well, I just am thinking back about the times we talked to Senator McKinney in particular about the changes he's trying to make. The people that work at the parole board, get to your jobs. And that's been part of it. They haven't been showing up to the job. So that's something that he's had to pull some legislation down in order to get them to do better, to be able to meet the needs of our incarcerated brothers and sisters. So it's interesting to me that this article is coming out. And not only are they not getting to the job, they're taking the company car and doing other stuff.
Man, it's almost like are they going to retirement parties when they're supposed to be at the parole hearing? Like, is that where they're going? Is that where they are?
Jeez.
Yeah. Again, this is the result of a full 26-page audit report that was covered by the Nebraska Board of Pardons as well. It focused more on the Board of Parole, of course, in the problematic vehicle usage. But the audit covers calendar year 2023. So we don't even know what 2024 looks like. Again, all of these numbers are just from 2023. And during that time, the state's 43 parole officers and Division of Parole Supervision were under the wing of the Board of Parole, which, as you mentioned, Senator McKinney has now pushed legislation that has changed that. But again, a state law passed this year actually put that now under the Nebraska Department of Correctional Services, where they had been prior to 2016. So hopefully some of these legislative changes will kind of curtail some of this activity, not just the rampant use of taxpayer dollars, but also, like you mentioned, Paul, parole board members actually doing their job and not going to retirement parties.
Yeah. What say you? Definitely let us know what you're thinking about this in the chat. If you've heard anything or got any other information on that too, let us know. Definitely want to hear from you on that. But yeah, this is a very interesting one. I can't wait to speak to Brother McKinney, Senator McKinney, next Monday, and I specifically ask him about what he's heard here on this particular story.
Yeah, man. But that's not it. Again, this also coming out of the Omaha World Herald, as I mentioned, State Auditor Mike Foley has been busy. In addition to his audit of the parole board, he also audited Nebraska's Department of Health and Human Services, who apparently, according to Omaha World Herald, has paid over $12 million. No, excuse me, overpaid over $12 million to child care providers on behalf of low-income parents, according to a new state audit. Again, Mike Foley released this audit on Tuesday, along with a scathing press release and that cited "quote unquote" rampant abuses within the child care program. He said the problems primarily involved the agency credulously paying improper billings submitted by child care providers. Again, some were, as Mike Foley has stated, outright fraudulent, and some just overlooked. He actually went on to say some of the spurious billings were so wildly excessive that one wonders whether anyone at DHHS even took the most cursory glance at them before authorizing their payment. It appears to me that the invoices were routinely processed and paid with little, if any, meaningful oversight. So they're just passing the money out. According to the audit, Foley staff used various procedures to check claims filed by providers between July 1st of last year and March 31st of this year, during which time the child care program paid out nearly $93 million. However, state auditors calculated the potential overpayment based on a random sample of 25 payments and questioned about 13% of the amount paid on the sample. So again, this number may possibly be higher than they're even saying. But again, in some cases, fraudulent. In other cases, just overlooked. For instance, one child care provider billed and was paid for a child under both the toddler rate and the preschool rate. So again, being double billed for one child, and that has happened actually in about 13 instances for another provider. Also, in another example, one provider billed for 168 partial days of care for one child, which only had 29 days. So again, 168 days being billed, but only 29 days of attendance. Mm. Another example is 120 days being billed versus only 31 days of attendance. So again, some of this being overlooked, maybe clerical errors, but some outright fraudulent. And given the history of DHHS and their maintenance or management, really, of childcare systems, I think it's fair to say that this is the tip of the iceberg.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most definitely. I know we, of course, have child care providers that are friends of First Sky Omaha that are chat chimers. If you guys are in, please chime in on this too. Let us know what what you've heard about these things as well. These are headlines that we're pulling, but we also know that you guys are in the industry, so definitely let us know what you're hearing about these things. But that sounds kind of this is one of those follow the money situations like you're mentioning as well. We have to. There's so much money and so much help needed in the childcare industry. It's unfortunate that this kind of stuff is going on.
Yeah, and it's even beyond the childcare industry. Again, we kind of, I personally, I would say, really started to wrap my head around how many areas of our lives that DHHS, has control of. Right. Childcare, man, mental health, food services. We talk about the EBT program and things like that. DHHS has a lot of power, a lot of just authority, and a lot of problems with that authority, not just childcare, but also mental health. Again, if you remember, toward the end of last season, there was a whole federal probe going on about DHHS and their maintenance and management of our Nebraskans dealing with mental health issues. And again, this is coming out of Omaha World Herald. A federal probe of federal officials have alleged that Nebraska is violating the Americans with Disabilities Act, also known as the ADA, by unnecessarily segregating people with serious mental illnesses in assisted living facilities and day programs. The U.S. Department of Justice sent a letter to Governor Jim Pillen Tuesday listing the findings of a 3-year federal probe of Nebraska's mental health system and threatening a possible lawsuit. This letter was signed by Kristen Clark, who's Assistant Attorney General for the Department of Justice's Civil Rights Division, and she expressed hope that Nebraska would agree to make changes, but did say that if they did not, that there will be appropriate action, including filing a lawsuit against the state. As she went on to say, far too often, people with mental health disabilities are institutionalized. Am I still here?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just make sure. Pardon. So, again, those with mental health disabilities are institutionalized when they could succeed and thrive in the community. She went on to say it's time to bring an end to the days of funneling people with disabilities down a dead-end road towards institutionalization and unemployment when they could succeed if provided pathways towards independence and dignity. The investigation also found that Nebraska's mental health system relies too much on quote-unquote many institutions, particularly assisted living facilities where people with serious mental illnesses are grouped together, supervised by paid staff, and have little contact with people without disabilities. Residents often leave the homes only for medical appointments, group visits to grocery stores and convenience stores, or to participate in day programs, which often operate under the same umbrella as the organization. The day programs actually provide no path to employment and may offer little beyond supervision and activities such as crabs. So basically, an adult daycare, if you will.
Mm.
According to the letter, about 5,000 Nebraskans have serious mental illnesses, live in facilities, many in state licensed assisted living facilities, and at least 19 assisted living facilities primarily house people with serious mental illnesses, and with a capacity ranging from 10 residents to nearly 250. There are about 22 Medicaid and state funded day programs for those people. So, again, talking about following the money and DHHS, a lot of state dollars again poured into these activities, poured into housing these individuals. And again, according to this federal probe, those dollars could probably be spent better elsewhere. Now, actually, in a statement, the State Department of Health and Human Services did express disappointment with the allegations issued by the Biden administration. The department said Nebraska previously worked, pardon itself, previously agreed to cooperate with the federal officials based on circumstances that existed within the department at that time. It did say that the Pillen administration has worked to enhance community-based services. But again, according to the letter, if more changes aren't coming down, then again, the state of Nebraska could definitely be sued by the Department of Justice.
Well, that would be interesting to see. I know that I keep thinking about how many times we've had stories about them and been talking about them for years now, in different areas and different different things that, like you said, they're in multiple parts of our lives for sure. And I don't know if I've ever really asked the chat chimers, asked ghost listeners, chat chimers who are tuned in, if you've had any experience with this particular department. And I think we might even have people that have worked for this department over the years be in the chat as well. So love to hear some firsthand information there, especially what's going on now. If this Department of Justice thing goes through, that'll be something big time. Maggie Miller Jenkins in the chat. Good morning. Says working with people who have disabilities is a money game. The more complex the disability, the higher the pay. And much of the structure of that industry is built this way. Interesting statement. Yeah.
And this just kind of confirms really, or really supports feeling that we've been having as far as the more beds. Like, it just seems like every time a mental health facility is brought up, it's just about beds, and there's no, like, where are the resources? Where is the actual support? As big shout out to this federal investigator, I believe her name was Kristen, for again talking about dignity and independence. That's what, although these individuals, these Nebraskans, these community members are suffering, or at least dealing with mental issues, they still deserve independence and dignity. I'm always excited when I see individuals who have autism working in certain capacities that they can flourish in, because everybody has a role and everybody has a place. And these brothers and sisters don't deserve to just be housed, if you will.
We have an expert in the chat. Maggie Miller Jenkins says, I spent over 15 years in the disability industry. So I'm sure you can share tons of insights on us. I know that it was a thing here. Me coming from California, I got here and recognized that there was a lot of mental illness here that was being shoved in the basement, shoved in the attic. And that's something that you hear about all over the place, but I never really witnessed it firsthand until I kind of got in town and saw that there's a big stigmatism up until maybe 10 years ago. Hopefully it's getting better now. And there's some resources out there, but it seems like we talk about mental illness and how to care for brothers and sisters that are struggling a lot lately. There's a lot of discussion going on now. So, and as far as where to find that money, Kimber Snipes got a good point. She says, what about that 1.1 billion shortfall with the OPS retirement fund? There's money out there. There's money out there. Can it go to some of the things we need?
Yeah. I mean, speaking of that, there's billions I'm reading about, unclaimed funds in FAFSA. Like, again, could that maybe go to some individuals who are dealing with mental issues to, again, give them some, employability and independence and dignity? There's definitely some things to think about. Also, but well, yeah. Also, this issue has been going on for quite some time. According to this article, Nebraska, the issue of whether Nebraska has complied with ADA actually has gone back to the 90s.
Hmm.
Yeah, apparently in 1999, a U.S. Supreme Court ruling in Olmstead versus LC, which required that people with disabilities to be served in the most integrated setting. The federal investigation found Nebraska has the kinds of supportive services that could help people with serious mental illnesses live independently, manage their mental health symptoms, and build relationships and find and keep jobs. However, the letter said those services are more limited in number and location than facility options. For example, there are only 3 of those types of programs and only 6 community-based programs that support employment. So again, not enough. And also,
Yeah.
it's not just about those dealing or in housing. It's also talking about Brother Zachary Hills and just how Omaha deals with mental health in general. Again, as a result, people often end up in jails, homeless shelters, and other inappropriate places. People with serious mental illnesses have also had struggles with law enforcement, including Zachary Hill's fatal encounter with Omaha police in 2017. Again, according to this Omaha World Herald article, Bear Hills, who was experiencing a mental health crisis, died after being shocked with a stun gun, and not as it was initially reported with what was it, delirium or something that they tried to.
Excited delirium. Which
Yeah,
what
yeah.
was that?
So
Yeah, good point. Good point. I'm glad that part of the articles. I'm glad you brought that up because it's not just about how we're caring for them, but how we're not caring for them. Things that happen to them. It's incredible.
yeah, man.
Your camera's out. I don't know if you got my message there.
Yeah, I see that.
Appreciate it right now. 7:32 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, we appreciate everybody that's come through on the first day back for season 1B. Is going down over here with a new format that we're working on today. We got a special guest coming up, Steven Zivny. He's going to be here in just about 5 minutes, so stay tuned for him. And we see we're getting some things together here in the wings. But yes, trying to go through everything that we're working on here with this new format that we're working on today. Again, season 1B, we're back to the beginning. Journalism as activism is the theme, and we're going to be talking about that and doing some content creator camp stuff this fall as well. Because we still have this goal of creating army of citizen journalists, so we can kind of hold people accountable and keep our eye on things and be able to discuss them. So what this show is here and what it's all about, definitely the discussion piece. So that we can get busy with just making sure that we are all understanding and getting on the same page on these issues in order to act. This is all so that we can take some action. So we'll keep our eye on what's going on here with the DHHS for sure. This is, like I said, it keeps coming up, definitely keeps coming up. So we'll definitely check that out. Follow the money. Got to follow the money on all this, man. That's the real problem. Problem. Appreciate everybody that came through. That's been talking about some things. Maggie Miller Jenkins had a really great comment as well to kind of in the idea here that she says the problem is that if the company can't get paid for your suffering, they're not interested in helping, and that's the feeling. She says, in my opinion, this is proof that our government doesn't invest in the growth and stability of these people, but invest into the profit of corporate interest at the cost of human dignity.
Man, independence, dignity. That's what these people deserve.
Yeah. It is 7:34 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, let's take a quick break. We'll come right back and stay tuned because we have special guest Steven Zivny. There you go. I had it all morning long. He'll be on in just a sec, so stay tuned for him. Again, we'll be right back. You're listening to First Guy Omaha Radio, First Guy Omaha in the morning. I'll be Buddi3 Da Gawd. Stay tuned. We'll be right back, y'all.
Hey.
welcome back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners, thanks for joining us on this Monday, July 15th.
Man.
First day back for season 1B. Appreciate you guys coming through. She says, Messi Miller Jenkins says, I miss you brothers during the break. This is my favorite part of my morning.
Hey.
Appreciate that. Just to reiterate, we are starting kind of a new format this morning. We actually got started at 6:50 this morning to do all our hellos and how you doings with everybody who is a regular chat chimer and a friend of First Sky Omaha, so that we can start at a hard 7 o'clock to really get the news going and reformat the first hour in kind of radio show style, where we have more discussion on the second hour. So definitely stay tuned for the 8 o'clock hour when we have even more discussion on some things that's going on. And also stay tuned. In this hour, we'll have our special guest, Stephen Zivny, in the house, coming to talk to us about what's going on with the lead situation. We're constantly trying to get the message out that we need to get the lead out of the land and the yards of North and South Omaha in particular. We always complain about how much lead is in the yard. I talked to so many people that want to start a garden, and they really question it because, what's going on with this lead situation. But here we are with no cost to the homeowner, ability to test the ground, and if there's something in it, get the lead out of the ground. So we'll definitely look forward to talking to him when he comes on in a few minutes. Amy H. in the house saying, good morning, fam. Appreciate you coming to the cookout, Amy. That was a good time always. Pop said, boy, that track is an oldie but goodie.
Oh, yeah, man.
That's all we play around here. For sure.
The good stuff.
Before we get to our guest, Buddy, what's next on the agenda? Let's dive in.
Yeah. Again, shout out to Sister Amy H. coming through. As you mentioned, she pulled up to the cookout. So big shout out to everybody who came through to the cookout. It was a good time, but more importantly, it was for a good cause. So again, also shout out to Brother Hassani Lee and his wife for coming out and joining us for the cookout, because it was the concept behind it was a housing party. We've all been to house parties before, but again, housing has been a heavy topic on the show here for a couple seasons, really. Mm-hmm. So it kind of dawned on us to do a housing party, and actually we have some shirts we'll be talking about to coincide with that. Fight the towers. Yeah. But again, fight the towers. Indeed, that fight continues. Big shout out to Brother Hassani Lee. Again, that cookout was a celebration of the wins that not only Brother Hassani has been getting, but really a lot of the tenants of OHA. Again, aside from the lawsuit that we've been covering and discussing in detail with Brother Hassani Lee, and really several cases that he has against OHA. During the break, again, big shout out to our partners over there at Flatwater Free Press. They also broke the story about a class action lawsuit, a whole separate class action lawsuit that's going out against OHA in regards to how they're collecting rent, how much they're charging for rent, how they're going about evicting people. It's just all criminal. And again, this class action lawsuit is growing and growing. And again, it looks like there actually may be a joining of forces between those involved with this class action lawsuit and Brother Hassani Lee, who is pushing forward and actually, again, getting some big victories. This news coming out of WOWT. Actually, in May, Brother Lee shared a list of code violations with his, again, saying his father was living in an apartment at Underwood Towers, including bed bugs, mice, lack of properly functioning heating and air conditioning. And again, on Monday, Lee and his father were in court for a hearing. Last week, Lee is accusing OHA retaliating against him and says they slowed the pace to find his father a better living situation after his story was covered by the media, namely us. Again, if you did catch our conversation with Brother Hassani Lee, we did have an impromptu conversation over the break with Brother Lee leading up to the cookout, and he did mention that he felt that his story didn't really pick up steam until he came on to First Sky Omaha and spoke. And again, we kind of made light of it, and was talking about the monitoring spirits, but we do know that OHA, for a fact, we do know that OHA employees were watching the show and did kind of catch a glimpse of the conversations we were having. And again, that apparently helped Brother Lee in his whole fight against OHA, because his whole battle, his whole lawsuit has been not over evictions, but really retaliation, he says, has been the case that he's building, and really every move that OHA has made has really bolstered that argument. Lee says they called the police out saying we were unauthorized, that we were trespassers, that we were illegally occupying the space. So they were telling HUD that we were causing problems with the tenants, that we were harassing the tenants. None of this stuff ever took place. Again, all of it simply retaliatory for, again, Brother Lee speaking up. OHA attorneys filed a motion to dismiss the case, arguing that Lee did not have the right to file suit because he and his wife were not actually tenants and were trespassing by living with Lee's father. However, Brother Lee says, as a power of attorney, I have the right to assist my father in legal matters. So I was letting the judge know, as a power of attorney, I'm only speaking for him in this legal matter because he doesn't understand the violations that have been taken against him. So again, Mr. Lee legally does have the right to do what he's doing because he's representing his father. Lee filed actually 2 other complaints against OHA. The judge ruled that he needed more time to look over one charge, and OHA attorneys were given more time to deal with the other complaint. However, the big news for us, and one of the main reasons for celebrating, is the fact that Brother Lee, his father, no longer lives in OHA housing. Actually, when we had that conversation with Brother Lee over the break, again, if you remember, a lot of the times we spoke to him, it was from the kitchen of the OHA tower location, but new location, new spot. Again, he's very happy. He says that, they're able to sleep without having to worry about bed bugs and roaches and rats and just all of all the things that they have. Yep, there you go. You see the kitchen right there. Again, that kitchen is a thing of the past for the Lee family. Thankfully, again, all of this just for them trying to get out of this situation. So again, big shout out to Brother Hassani Lee for allowing us to tell his story, allowing us to shed light to what's going on with his situation. And we will definitely continue to again speak to Brother Lee and work with him and tell his story, because the fight apparently is not over.
Can't tell you how much we really appreciate everybody who's been following this story and been a part of this fight, helping out as well. We got people in the chat. Chat chimers, Amy H. is always getting shouted out by Hassani Lee and his family for the help that she's done. We also have Paul Philman, who's always out on deck. He calls it his office. He's out in front of the tower so much, really trying to look out for folks. That's the place you can find him, is out in front of the tower. So we really appreciate everybody who's been a part of this. And like I said, and everybody who's purchased T-shirts and stuff at the cookout and everything. We really we're raising some funds. Now we're still trying to calculate how much we raised, but we're raising some funds for the Underwood tenant group that Hassani Lee is a part of as well, in order to really kind of help not just him and his family, but many more families out there that want to speak up, that have been not speaking up due to fear of retaliation. It's been a really messed up situation. So just so grateful for this platform, and for everybody who tunes into this platform, and everybody who's actually taking some action even on really trying to help the situation out. So really appreciate it very much. Kimmer in the chat is saying that there's people that outside of Omaha that even know. She says, I met a person last night who works in housing in a different state, and they're familiar with what's been going on. They're excited about what's been happening. Said OHA is dead wrong. That's what's up.
Man, you're dead wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
We'll definitely be having Brother Hassani Lee on to update us on some stuff again as well, and we'll be talking about this a lot. This is such a great, Pop said this is great news. Way to go, Brother Lee and family. That's what's up, Pop.
Yes. Big shout out to the Lee family, man.
Absolutely. It is 7:45 if you believe in the concept of time, and we got a special guest that we're going to bring on. So keep your comments, and we'll continue to talk about this after the 8 o'clock hour. But right now, we're going to bring on Brother Stephen Zivny. He is coming from the city of Omaha. Without further ado, let's go ahead and bring him on, ladies and gentlemen. Stephen Zivny in the house. Let me see if I can bring him on with the new. There we go. All right. We got you. Good morning. How you doing?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Good. I appreciate you taking the time this morning, coming on in.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Introduce yourself to the people. Who are you and what do you do?
So, Stephen Zivny, program manager for our 2 lead programs with the city of Omaha in the planning department, Housing and Community Development Division. Manage a couple of grants, one from EPA that we are continuing to sample and clean up lead in the yards in North and South Omaha and Midtown area a little bit. And also, we have a HUD grant that we've had for many, many years, a couple of decades now, where we assist property owners, owner occupied and rentals that have problems with lead-based paint issues in their home, and
Wow.
trying to prevent those kids from being poisoned.
Man, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Again, I
Yeah.
don't know if you caught our conversation about the OHA situation, but
Mhm.
again, everybody deserves to live in a place, an area that's free of poison, free of rodents, free of lead, free of all these things. And I've actually, I years ago, maybe 10, 15 years ago, I was on the Lead Coalition. We were going around from schools. There was a play, and we were educating kids on the importance of staying away from lead and looking out for the symptoms of lead poisoning and things like that. But as somebody who works closely with it, you know, can you kind of explain why you feel this work is important and you know, just the urgency of this project?
Well, believe it or not, it is 2024, and we unfortunately are still dealing with lead. You know, and this program and this issue with Omaha has been going on for a couple of decades now. And I just think it's important to connect with folks like yourself to still get this message and this education out there, because a lot of our young people who were not around when this first kicked off and are now around, and they're starting to have families and stuff, they just don't know about it, and we need to just keep this education going out there. Unfortunately, where this Superfund site is located is where most of our older housing stock is. It's where most more of our lower socioeconomic folks are, and so yeah, they've already got enough challenges, like you mentioned before. And I'm just trying to help make sure that lead's not one of them.
It's interesting. I've been focusing on getting the lead out of the yard, just because now that you're mentioning all the places that there's lead that needs to be remediated. I'm thinking about my personal situation, my mom and family that want to do a little community kind of garden in their yard, and they're really worried about the lead. So I've been really focused on the yard part. But you're blowing my mind right now. Of course, there's lead in paint and all these other places as well that needs to go. I actually worked in construction for a while and did some of that removing of the lead, removing of paint on the old structures and stuff like that because of the lead. So yeah, so that's part of getting rid of the lead situation that you guys are doing as well. Lead paint and other places besides just the yards, right?
Right. We have a couple different programs. Yep. This bore media program that deals primarily with the yards, because that's from the smelting plant where the lead pollution went into the air deposition, deposited down in our yards. And then we also have this other grant that deals with the lead-based paint, which is inside and outside the home as well, that can also cause problems.
Interesting.
Yeah,
That's really
yeah.
interesting.
Um,
And the programs are the yard program. I know is free of charge for the people, the homeowners. Is that the same with the paint in the
A little bit of difference. Yes, the EPA soil remediation program, there is no cost to the homeowner whatsoever. We even clean up vacant lots. So there's not a home that needs to be required. And then we don't take into account who lives there. It can be older folks, younger folks, no kids. It's a public health hazard that we're charged with cleaning up. On the HUD side, it's a little bit of different. There needs to be a child associated with the home. Uh,
Mm.
Help rentals. We help owner occupied. And there is an income qualification guideline there. You need to be below 80% of the area median income, which most clients do meet. And then we'll come in and take a look at all the lead-based paint issues inside and outside the home. On the EPA side, we don't go inside the home. It's just strictly out in the yard.
Okay.
You offer a one-time painting of the outside of the home that's associated with that program. But that HUD program, the lead hazard control program, is really, really deep diving into that lead-based paint to see where those problems are inside and outside the home.
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay. And I'm just kind of curious for people who might not be, you know, aware of what to look for. Like, how do you know that you might, you know, have lead or might, you know, have come in contact with lead? What are some of the symptoms of
So,
lead poisoning?
well, on the just the physical appearance of lead-based paint, when it starts to fail and deteriorate, it kind of looks like they use the term alligatoring or crackling.
Mm,
Paint looks like it begins to flake and peel off the house. That's when the real problem is when it starts
Mhm.
house, creates the dust, falls to the windowsills, falls to the floor. Children, pets, our infants, toddlers are crawling around. Then they do a lot of hand to mouth transmission. That's where that ingestion becomes a part.
mm,
Some health symptoms, children under the age of 6, that's our most vulnerable population. That's when their central nervous systems, that's when everything is still developing as a young child. Lead gets into the body and it mimics calcium. So it deposits in the bones. But then it becomes problematic where it can hinder, our cognitive development. We have
mm,
eye issues. We could have attention issues later in life. So there's just a lot of things, and they've really, the studies over the years too. They keep lowering the action level. They keep lowering the level of concern because all the studies and research have found that really even lower levels of lead, and there should be, no. We would like no levels of lead right in our
mm,
bodies. Lead does occur. Just want to make throw that out there too. Clarify that lead does occur naturally in our environment. So there is a little amount of lead in there that we're going to not be able to get. But these levels that have become, have come from our man-made stuff, we
mhm.
definitely need to address and get out of our environment.
And
Okay.
definitely overleaded. We need to get unleaded.
Yeah, yeah, I was gonna say, like he mentions 2024, like they're unleaded gas. Like how long have we been dealing with lead in America?
I think unleaded gas was probably phased out, maybe late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember about mid '80s. It was still kind of around. So yeah.
Hmm. But it's decades we were talking about, and
And
still.
paint was 1978. That's the magic year for lead-based paint. So, uh,
Mm, man.
but
So,
yeah.
so if we have any homeowners who might feel like they are dealing with some of those symptoms, or just might have some concerns, how can they get involved with this? How can they reach out and get things rolling?
Couple different resources for folks. You can call. We have a lead information line at the city that's staffed with one of my staff members. That number is 402-734. I just had a mailbox 3045
Mhm.
734 3045. There they can call and see if their home that they're interested in buying or possibly renting or even currently living in has been sampled or remediated. They can find all the history. Also, the Omaha Lead Registry, omahalead.org, is a website that houses all of our information, all of our
Okay.
test cleanup information from the beginning of this program back in the or late about 1999 2000 is when it kicked off. But all that information is there. They can go in and type their address in and find out what the history is of it there. And then also just some general health stuff. The Douglas County Health Department is a very big partner of ours as well. They
Mm.
programs, they'll actually even come out and do some education and some uh, testing inside the home as a courtesy. We don't provide any, my programs aren't able to provide any of that, but the Douglas County Health Department is a very important partner in our community too, a great resource.
Okay. Okay. Um,
Very
uh,
cool.
this is we're kind of reaching the top of the hour, but this did jump into my mind as far as speaking of health. Those who may have come, in contact with lead and are dealing with the health issues. Are there any programs or resources to cover or I guess help with the health side of it? Programs for those maybe dealing with mental health issues or things like that.
I would, again, I'd probably reach out to the Douglas County Health
Okay.
Department. Yeah, they're going to have some of those programs and be more versed and have more knowledge or know of those programs that can help with that. Yeah, that would be my best.
All
best.
right. Thank you.
Cool. I do have a couple of questions though. These are pretty quick ones. The first one is the initiatives. I know that you guys have had events and things that you've put on and initiatives and stuff like that. What's the latest thing that's happening right now that people can kind of get in touch and is it still just the testing and remediation part that you guys are really focusing on right now? Is you still when we talked, I remember there was a lot of houses still that weren't reached, in a lot of areas. How extensive is the lead removal situation going on in North Omaha? Let's just take North Omaha in particular. Are we 70%, 80%, 90% lead gone? Where are we at there?
I don't quite have the numbers for North Omaha, but I have the numbers for the whole entire focus area, and I think you could probably apply that. We have between us and the EPA, we've sampled close to just over, I think, 43,000 properties. We've cleaned up just over 13,000, between 13,000 and 14,000 properties as well. We have about 150 properties left to sample,
Hmm.
and I think between 400 and 500 properties left to clean up. So if you do that math and do that percentage, it's a very low, I would say less than 1%, that it still needs to be addressed at the
Wow.
current cleanup level. So I would say it's been very successful. I mean, the EPA will say that's very successful. Those numbers are for the given the size of our Superfund area. Keep in mind also that Omaha is the largest residential Superfund site in the country.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of focus on Omaha. There's a lot of eyes on the EPA national level on Omaha. So they've done great things. There's more to do, obviously, but there's been a great accomplishment here that we can't forget.
That's amazing.
Right.
That's really amazing. That you kind of answered the second question too about the Superfund situations. When we hear that word Superfund, we think, "Oh, there's some money involved in getting this stuff out of here." We're a Superfund site. So how did that come about? How did where did the money come from? We have a segment on here we call "Follow the Money." Where did the money come from to get all this stuff taken care of?
Sure. So, and I'm just going off of what I've read. I wasn't around when all this happened, but from what I understand, when the Justice Department and the government came in, and the Omaha City Council had petitioned Region 7 EPA, which is in Kansas City, back in the 90s, to come take a look at our high blood lead levels that we had in eastern Omaha. When they determined that the lead that was in the yards came from a Sarco and another battery manufacturing plant down there, there was a lawsuit. Justice Department had a lawsuit, and there was a settlement with that, and that special account money was set aside. And EPA had started cleanup right away, though, before the settlement happened. I think the settlement happened in maybe 2009, 8, 7. Don't quote me, but right around there. But cleanup started in 99 and 2000. So the EPA started cleaning with their own money, started cleaning up right away. But then the special account money, once that settlement was finalized, this special account money was set aside, and that's what's been paying, and it's earmarked for Omaha. EPA can't come in and sweep that account or whatever and take it and you spend it somewhere else. It's for Omaha to continue the cleanup, to continue our lead education efforts, to continue, maintaining our website, the Omaha Lead Registry. So there's that money there that continues for this cleanup effort.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Pops in the chat says this has been a problem for a long time. I got lead silver in my eye when playing in my yard when I was 5 years old. I'm 71 now. So happy yards are being cleaned for lead for free. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Says it all.
Yeah. He just kind of reminded me again. I think I was doing the lead coalition plays like 04, 05, 06, as a youth. So just to know that, you're down to about 1% is a huge feat. And I'm excited. So I guess in your estimation, what will it take to kind of push this last 1% through? What's the goal?
We're just continuing to knock on doors and send letters and really try to let people know that the program is still around. There's going to be those people that are hard nosed. We're just really trying to still get them off the fence if we will. It's tough, but we're cleaning up about 100 yards a year is what our goal is, and we've done that for about the last 4 or 5 years, or 6, and we're just going to continue at that pace. That's what the EPA has charged us with, is to continue with that pace, continue with our lead outreach campaigns and programs. We do a lot of health fairs. We were in the Juneteenth parade, Cinco de Mayo parade, wherever we can get our word out. Talking with you fine folks as well, helping us get the word out is what we're going to continue to do.
Great.
Is there a list of the remaining ones that you want to? Is it kind of a private thing, or is this something to post and maybe You
have a list. I want to be careful not to. I don't want to get into public shaming anyone. I'm not do that. But there is. You can go onto the Omaha Lead Registry and find those properties. You'd have to search for them, but they are out there.
Okay.
And is that registry on the OmahaLead.org or where is that?
Yeah, Omaha Lead.
Okay.
That's
Sweet.
Great. I just wanted to mention one last thing. Again, I don't know if you can see our chat on the side. Thanks for not, usually guests are trying to read the chat and get a little distracted. So thanks for staying focused on the conversation. But I did want to point out one of our chat chimers, Sister Kimra Snipe, who's the executive director of One Omaha. She says that she's trying to reach out to you on LinkedIn, but I think that may be a good connection to make. That's one of the big things that we like to do here on First Sky Omaha is make connections with community members and organizations that we think might be able to assist each other. And Sister Kimra might be able to get you into some few neighborhoods, associations, and some homeowners who could benefit from this program.
Perfect. That'd be great.
Yep. We'll put you in touch. Appreciate you coming on in. Terry Crawford in the chat is asking about a fund for families and children that were harmed by lead. We did talk about this a little bit earlier. He instructed us that we should talk to the health department, Ms. Crawford, on trying to find out if there's any programs there. But it sounds to me like this is a successful operation. One of the main things for me when I met with you guys to make sure that we weren't tearing up people's yards. I had that question for you. What happens when you go in and remediate the yard? That you guys sent over some documentation here a little earlier as well that showed us kind of some of the things that you do. Let me see if I can pull that up. Some of the steps here, you come through, you check it out, and even replace the yard with clean soil inside. So the people that are worried that you guys are going to come and test the yard or tear up the yard, that's not the case. So that was very important to relay to our audience too, is get it done. There's no reason not to get it done. We're down to 1%. We can knock this out and not have to complain about lead in the land and in the houses anymore. That's the one problem down. So,
and it's free. It's free.
Really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for coming through.
Gentlemen, have a nice day.
Cool. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, there you go. Stephen Zivny in the house, giving us a little update on that. It's pretty encouraging to hear that one of the problems that we have in East Omaha can be taken care of, can actually be solved. So
yeah. Once we get that, now they'll OPPD.
That's what it is.
Yeah, one battle at a time.
Appreciate it. It is 8:03 already. If you believe in the concept of time, it is now the second hour of First Sky Omaha in the morning. We're going to take a quick break, come back, and now we're jumping to some discussion. This is talk time with us. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Again, you're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners. We'll be right back, y'all. Welcome back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd. Appreciate you guys coming on through. Second hour now of First Sky Omaha in the morning, and this is the time that we go ahead and have a lot more discussion with you, the chat chimers. Really appreciate everybody that hung with us and stayed with us through to the second hour. We'll definitely be going back over some of these stories and going back over some of the comments that you guys put in. So really appreciate you guys doing that and helping us out with the format. Just to recap, we're in the new season now. We just got off of a break. This is our first day back. We just celebrated 7 seasons of First Sky Omaha in the morning. 7 seasons. For those who don't know how the seasons work, we do 2 seasons per year. There's a break in between each of them, all of them. And that's how we do that. So we go from January 15th to June 15th, and we take a month off. Then we come back July 15th and go to December 15th, and then take a month off. And that's 2 seasons a year. So now we're in our 7th season. We just celebrated our 7th season of First Guy Omaha in the morning. And now we're kind of starting back at the beginning. Instead of going to season 8, we're going back to season 1 again. Season 1B is what we're calling it. And that brings us back to the topic that we started with, which is journalism as activism.
Man,
this show pretty much is born out of Freedom Summer 2020. A lot of stuff has been born out of Freedom Summer 2020 around here, and this is one of the things. And we realize that we may not be out there on the front lines in the streets getting arrested in the protests, but our protests, our activism is going to be in the form of journalism, getting that message, recording what's going on, and getting that message and disseminating out to the people who can help from other areas. You know, you got we were working with groups that were bailing people out of jail, bailing protesters out of jail. Shout out to some of those coalitions and some of the organizations that we were trying to work with back then. And the biggest thing coming out of this was really kind of disseminating the information and making sure that everybody understands what's happening and put the context around what's going on with all that too. 2020 was heavy. People were in the streets. Brother James Scurlock was murdered by what some people consider a white supremacist right in downtown Omaha. I was just in downtown Omaha last night or 2 nights ago, and kind of was showing somebody who was from out of town what was going on, and was like, that's the area that it happened. So it's still fresh on my mind every time I pass that street, every time I pass that business, I think of that. And so we're here, and it's morphed into what it is, which is a discussion show. You know, this is our outreach. This is us having a round table with you, the chat chimers, ghost listeners, to have a discussion about the news that affects us in our neighborhoods. That's how I present it when I'm talking to people. And we understand that we also have to be part of the news dissemination process as well, not just the discussion of the news. So that's the change that we're making here. The first hour, we're kind of really making it back to a kind of a radio show style, so we can get as much dissemination of news out as we can. And then the second hour will be when we do a lot of the discussion. So those of you that are chat chimers and friends of First Guy Omaha, instead of us taking the first kind of 10, 15 minutes for the hellos and how you doings after 7 o'clock, we're doing it at 6:50 now. From 6:50 to 7 is our time to kind of get together as a fam and say good morning, and 7 o'clock will be a hard start for the news. So that's kind of one of the big changes that's happening as far as what's happening here. And Buddy, you want to talk about another change that we're doing this season?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Again, for those of you who followed us to TikTok and saw, us kind of dip our toe into content creation and doing some other things and finding other ways to disseminate the news, that is one big change that we will be making. Also, this season is cutting down to 2 days a week for this style broadcast. Again, First Guy Omaha live in the morning. We will be broadcasting live Monday and Wednesday, and then on Friday we'll be putting together pre-recorded week presentation, week recap, also looking at a few other things, and just trying again to disseminate information and get it to other people in other ways, that again, just trying to get as much information to as many people as possible, specifically as many people in East and Black communities throughout Omaha. So again, we appreciate everybody who has supported us in that, and we are, looking for that continued support in the form of feedback. This is us trying some things out, but we are flexible, and we want to, meet you where you are and lean into what works. So, if there's some things that we're trying that does not work, feel free to let us know. If you have some suggestions, feel free to let us know, and we will take that into consideration.
Most definitely. We also been talking a lot to our the immigrant and the indigenous populations that we're in lockstep with as well.
Yeah, man.
Excuse me. And we'll be working with them more this season, and other groups, our Latino brothers and sisters, South Side, more of an East Side focus, and a very strong report on what's going on in the Black community. And that's kind of where we're at. So, and also low income. We follow the money is always going to be a part of what it is that is part of this show, what we're doing. Recognize that a lot of things happen because of where the money comes from for it, especially here in Omaha, which is kind of a nonprofit town in a big way. We always have to talk about it. So when I talk to people about like who we serve, Black community, brown community, Black and brown community, East Side, our indigenous brothers and sisters, our immigrant population brothers and sisters, and everybody who is, especially people who are suffering from low income in these areas that we are focused on as well. So it's really kind of everybody, and it really takes everybody in order to really understand what's going on as far as the news is concerned and where to take action. And I feel like we've done a really, really great job, thanks to you, the chat chimers, and the Friends of First Sky Omaha family, to get to some understanding about some things and take some action on it. It's really kind of part of what's going on. This has also turned out to be kind of a civics lesson, without us recognizing that that's what it was going to be too. And we have the senators on, and they teach us about what's going on in the unicameral and the legislature, and we're understanding more about local politics, how things affect us, even national politics.
Yeah.
And also how Omaha is really connected to national news. You know, what's going on here is being looked at all around the nation. A lot of things we talk about is being looked at all around the nation. So we appreciate everybody who's always spread the word, and we're going to continue to, like Buddy said, you know, figure out how to disseminate news, meet you where you're at, and really continue and really upgrade this, make this bigger. So yeah, appreciate it. Kimber Snipe says, thank you for saying that, East, and for Black communities in other parts of Omaha.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're all over the place. And this is not just for those communities. This is for everybody. Though all the communities need to understand what's going on here. There's not enough news and not enough talk about what's happening in these communities. So it's not just for us, it's for everybody, for sure.
And not enough diversity of thought. You know, sometimes you need diversity of thought. You need other perspectives. You need, you know, the word that you used earlier that's huge is context.
Big time.
Context, perception, perspective. Yeah, that's what we're offering. So again, big shout out to everybody who's you know, picking up what we're putting down and supporting this whole endeavor. We appreciate you.
Appreciate it very much. Again, we're in our second hour now. We're loosening it up. So we definitely gonna get back to loosen the tie up a little bit. It's definitely time for us to get back to talking about some things, for sure. We appreciate everybody's comments earlier on a lot of the things that's happening, that a lot of the stories that we've been talking about. Of course, the big thing has been I'll never forget it. This is how news works. So I was just kind of hanging out. I looked at my phone. Somebody said somebody shot Trump. Somebody shot at Trump, and then hashtag Simpsons at the bottom. And I'm thinking, oh, they talking about some kind of, you know, Simpsons, another one of them things the Simpsons then predicted, and they're waiting for that to happen. I totally dismissed it. And about an hour later, I'm getting hit after hit after hit. And finally, Buddy hit me like, yo, did somebody try to shoot Trump? You know, like,
man,
you know, like it's surreal. It's surreal what's happening, bro. To see this man now covered with all these Secret Service agents, and he got his fist up and all this, like, the whole thing is surreal. And it's been, of course, it's the biggest news, of course, here, because we report on this all the time, that we're actually surrounded by more white supremacist groups in any state. Nebraska has the most. It bears, you know, I called family up, yo, they just shot at Trump. Watch out for retaliation. Go and get in the house. Be safe. We don't know what's going to happen. We and it's unfortunate we got to say that, but that's really what, you know, that's the first thing that came to my mind was, well, they're going to try to act like this is like the wild, the violent left, and they're going to make this, it's a political thing. I mean, how could it not be political? They try to assassinate a president. And what's going to happen with this retaliation? We've been talking about Project 2025 over the break. This election coming up is, you know, all these things. But Anthony Rogers Wright says something I just saw. Let me see if I can get down to his comment. He says, and with the political climate the way it is right now, Black people should be calling for gun training more than gun control. Cops, government, and white supremacists should not be the only people armed or with access to weapons.
Man,
that's how Black folks is feeling right now.
Yeah. Surreal is definitely a good way to put it, and I'm glad you kind of, you know, brought this up just in the way that the news and the information was disseminated. Like, it's very interesting how we get news and just how things happen right now, and our response to news. Like, that was kind of the biggest thing with me. Like, we had just finished little mama, my daughter's second birthday. Like, the family, you know, here in Atlanta threw a birthday party, so we're all just still sitting around eating, hanging out. I look at my phone and I'm like, they just try to kill Trump. Did somebody just shoot at Trump? And nobody seemed moved at all. Everybody's like, "Oh, hey, that's great." And I'm just like, "Yo, like,
Wild.
am
It's
I the
wild.
only one that?" It's
Yeah,
very surreal. That's that's the
yeah.
good choice word for it.
It is. It really is. It still is. It still is. Like, and then everything after that. Of course, it's all over the place. Of course, so all the major outlets are talking about it. You hear so many people chiming up about he can't be stopped. For those, like, people have really drawn a line. People that weren't really being like, I'm for Trump, just kind of keeping it quiet, loudly displaying it now.
Man,
A lot of people are already on the memes of like, yeah, hey, he had ketchup on his ear. He didn't really, like, people are already like, or if he really did Trump set this up? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really interesting to see how, to just think about, just in my lifetime, like something like this happened in Reagan in the 80s. I'm a kid. It was serious. It was earth shaking serious business, bro. There wasn't nobody. It didn't. Well, I was very young, so maybe there was, but it didn't seem like there was like this level of cynicism and, like you said, uninterest. It seemed like it was a very huge thing before, and now this was just like another episode in a sitcom or something.
or,
I mean,
or a cartoon, The
but
Simpsons.
and at the same time, like, look, Maggie Miller Jenkins in the chat said we're sticking close to home because America vibes are about to be strong out there. That's the other side of it, though. Like, we can't forget about, like, that seems like something on TV, but that stuff on TV affects how people next door are acting. That's how I feel. That's the feeling I get that people are on right now. They're like, wow, that's wild. Now how is that 20-year-old with a gun gonna act? You know what I mean? Measure Miller Jenkins says gay furries hacked the Heritage Foundation and leaked mass amounts of data. We really got to find out about that situation. That was something else that happened over the break. President of the Heritage Foundation was like, it's going to be another American Revolution, and it'll be a bloodless one if the left lets it be. The left shot at Trump the other day.
That's what they saying. And
So it don't. What's going to happen next? If it, you know what I'm saying, like.
That's really what my thoughts are. Again, there's a lot of conversation about, the legitimacy of the whole situation, whether it's staged or whether it's real or not. And I don't really want to get into all of that. My focus is whether, regardless of where you fall on that conversation, the outfall. There's going to be people who believe it's staged, and there's going to be people who believe it's real. And how will they respond to these things? And yeah, again, I've been talking about the Trump effect for a while because I saw this coming. Hate to say it, but the tensions, the tensions are continuing, and we kind of talked about at the end of last season the whole indictment and the 30 plus charges, and we're thinking what kind of impact that seems like so far in the past at this point. And Brother Anthony Rogers, right, a little bit ago, mentioned that he felt like that he's going to win now. Like, and
Yeah.
you kind of mentioned that a lot of people are chiming up, and I am kind of curious. What do y'all think about this whole sentiment that now Trump has survived the shooting, that black voters are going to?
Well,
What are y'all thoughts on that?
50 Cent already put his face up on the stage. Did you see that?
I did see that meme. I did see that.
Many man, he's up there named and dedicated to Trump. Pop says, we said we were totally gonna get into this, but Pop says you all may think I'm crazy, but I'm going on record to say that Trump, realizing that he could lose, may have paid to have that done. He's capable of that. The last sentence right there, like, I don't want, like, you're right, like, I didn't want to get too far into the conspiracy theory stuff except for that last sentence. He is capable of that, though.
Oh yeah, all of it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Right.
All of it's possible.
Marlon Harrison says Black Twitter was coming with the jokes and conspiracies. Also, everyone took a side of relief when it turned out it came out the shooter was white. A sigh of relief. I mean, yeah, but retaliation. That don't mean it's juxtaposing that up against what the president of Heritage Foundation said about the left allowing it to be a bloodless revolution. And now they're acting like this dude is a left wing nut who's not going to let it be bloodless. How are they going to act? Maggie Miller Jenkins says, think of the amount of dystopia the average person has been dealing with over the past 4 years. Nothing feels real anymore. And of course, there are guns everywhere.
Man, I mean, for me, it's been 8. It's been 8 years. Once Donald Trump becoming the president of the United States was a real thing, I was like, oh yeah, this is the Twilight Zone. And it has not disappointed in the last decade. January 6th.
That's true.
Assassination attempts. Global pandemic. George Floyd, which was that wasn't just a national, that was a global thing. This has been feeling like the Twilight Zone for quite a while.
Prince died. I mean,
man.
Anthony Rogers Wright says, y'all don't even worry about Project 2025. He says, we need to be thinking more about Project 2024. Environmentally, there is less daylight than there should be between the Dems plan and policies and Project 2025. That's interesting. That's an interesting statement. Yeah, that's really interesting. Kimmer Snipes says, the party let us as candidates know to be vigilant with our events. I'm very concerned for some of our candidates. Nothing to think about, man. Yeah, Preston Love is still on the campaign trail. We don't want nothing to happen to the elder.
And which is just to that point, it's quite interesting. Excuse me. There have been a few Democratic candidates, even Biden. I mean, even Biden coming out, as again, speaking of the vigilance and just the vibe around even Democratic events, it's a lot of unity. Like, let's stop the violence. It's a lot of like, almost feel like they expect it to, come their way soon. And I will also throw in that, we're having this conversation. Hasn't really been a good 72 hours for Democrats. If we want to throw in the whole Epstein situation. I'm hearing the Epstein list finally released, and a lot of Democratic officials are tied to it. Either Democratic officials or donors have popped up on this Epstein list.
That's interesting.
It's very interesting.
Heather Williams in the chat says, does anyone know the difference between Agenda 47 and Project 2025? Is Agenda 47 even real?
Not familiar with it.
The only thing I heard about it was that they were trying to rename it Agenda 47. What was going on with the Project 2025? I'm more interested in this statement that Brother Anthony Rogers Wright said. What's the Dems plan? How much air in between the Dems plan and 2025 is there? Like when I thought, okay, when we get back to the season here, one of the things that we're gonna really have to be doing is breaking down what this Project 2025 is, or if it's changed now to Agenda 47. Not sure, but the gist of all these things are that even the Republicans didn't think Donald Trump was going to win the first time, so they weren't ready. Now they all think he's going to win this time, and he probably will. He probably have Donald Trump for president again. So all the Republican Party now has kind of got together to be able to implement all the wild things that he talks about. So that's probably, that's going down. That's kind of like something that's going down. I'm looking at some previous articles that we were talking about that we didn't get to last season. One of them I'm looking at, if I can find it real quick, talked about Donald Trump, how he was saying that he was going to use, he says, let's see, where is it at here? Said he's going to be using the police. Yeah, I'm not gonna keep looking for it. From what I remember, it was he's going to be using the police and these kind of what effectively are concentration camps to be trying to gather folks together. We always talk about this war on journalism. Is fitting that this first season we're back to 1B, which is journalism is activism, because there's a war on it. There's been stuff that's happened over the break where they've taken control away from officials and away from professionals and put more control in the hands of the president. He's also he was convicted, and now the president has more power to be able to do things and has some immunity. I mean, think about all the things that's happened over the break. There's been tons. Heather Wayne, Maggie Miller Jenkins. You guys are talking back and forth. That's cool. Cheryl Weston, good morning. She says at the time Omaha was the largest lead. You're talking about the lead situation. Super fun, yeah, still are. Back to this. This is the article you're bringing up.
Yeah, that's the one you were looking for.
Yeah, he'd use police, National Guard, and possibly military to expel immigrants. And the difference is he was talking all this junk before. The difference is now Republicans have put plans and put things in place and gotten together with all the governors, which is we still have majority Republican governors in the country that are putting things in the Congress that are putting these things in place for him to be able to do, including this immunity situation, which I think is which is really wild as well. You know, we went through all this court stuff, and now they're trying to act like the president has got some.
Yeah, that's quite the thought. You know, also to add in the fact, talking about Trump using the police and things in National Guard, I was reminded of the fact that during the George Floyd situation, Trump was trying to get National Guard to shoot protesters in the street, in the leg.
Matthew Miller Jenkins said Trump was mentioned on that list as well, the Epstein list. So maybe that's going to be released because it'll do more damage to Republican Party. We'll see. Jess Parker gives us a good morning. Appreciate that. Yes, Miss Weston, we talked about that largest lead Superfund site in EPA history. That's crazy, EPA history. A lot of money came from. I love the fact that the brother Stephen Zivny that came on earlier. You know, he was like, well, there was some legislation and they had a settlement, but they got started way before the money came. But the money came and they're knocking us out as far as the lead in the situation. But it's really interesting how things work, man. How you got to kick things in the butt in order to get them kickstarted. It's usually litigation that kicks things in the butt to get things kickstarted. Yep. And so I'm anxious to see what's happening here, man. They you know, even with this stuff, they've taken Trump to court several times on some things. He's been convicted.
Speaking of litigation,
Anthony Rogers Rice says it's simple. Fascists will use neoliberalism to affect their power, and neoliberals will use fascism to affect theirs. Cop cities, Democrats, more oil and gas drilling Democrats, using the courts against their political opponents, Democrats, and I can go on and on. So that's another problem. We're talking about Trump. We're talking about what the Republicans are doing. We also got to talk about Biden up there. Standing up there freezing, pop blocking, and all the stuff, man. And the problems there, the problems that are happening there, and what are people saying there? He's not leaving the race. It's really come down to that. I really feel like Trump is probably going to really win now after this mess. Seeing 50 Cent up there with him on the photo.
Man, you gonna copy a pair of Trump ones, the gold Trump ones now? Man,
it's kind of a trip.
They acting like Trump the blackest president since since Obama and Clinton. Talk about got his own shoe, got locked up, got shot at.
And you know what's funny? He gets up and says this stuff, and it's funny enough when he's saying that mess, and then you got actual black folks that are like, yeah.
But I still don't know what's worse though. Like it's just the duality, like the duopoly, like because I still don't know what's worse between that from the Republicans or Democrats wearing the kente cloth and the rotunda. Like, come on, man.
It's all bad. It's all bad, bro. It's all bad. Brother Anthony Rogers, right? If you're still in the chat, what's going on with Brother Love? Because we still
man, we need options.
We need options. We still need options for real. I know he's still pushing as well. He don't stop. He ain't gonna quit until it's going down. I've been seeing on Earn Your Leisure and also what is it? I want to say 29 Keys.
19 Keys.
19 Keys, thank you.
High level conversations
with one of the Kennedy guys. You know, he's talking about Kennedy been on there a lot. You know, for the same reason, everybody feels like they need all these other options, and they go in all kinds of different directions. Be interesting to see.
Dr. Stein. Dr. Stein.
Dr. Stein has been a shout out to Dr. Stein for bringing on Sherman Wells. I don't know if you saw that, but she did this online rally in Sherman Wells. Sherman Wells came on talking about all the cocaine that's just laying around the White House. I said he didn't hold back. That was cold. I think he said he was like, I think Biden on the booger sugar. I was like,
man,
what's up? Tony Johnson in the chat says, so at this point, nothing is sparking interest of community to get more involved in current politics. I don't know what that means, man.
Well, I think that's building on a comment from earlier saying that none of this is added to voter registration.
Oh, got it.
Yep. Or just
None of this craziness,
voter
increased
activity.
right. Voter activity. Right.
Mhm.
But I mean, that's kind of the point. Like everybody what people feel like all this is crazy. Like the most energy I see for people voting is for Trump. The most energy I see people demonstrating is the people that are, and it could be because of what just happened and they're chiming up more, the people that were kind of on the fence or people that were keeping it quiet, that are now loudly, like, very emotionally touched by the fact that it was an assassination attempt.
I was saving before that though. Again, a lot of people are not happy with what's going on with Biden's international policies. His international policies have really turned a lot of people off. The billions and trillions of dollars that have been sent to Israel, people still aren't happy about that, and they're not slowing down as far as sending those funds. Actually, there's been some children that have been bombed by bombs that have been connected to the United States. So on that front, the U.S. has blood on their hands. And then also a lot of people aren't happy with the immigration, like Biden just opening up the floodgates. I actually just caught wind of this new app that they have. Have y'all heard about this? The CBP1 app.
Mm-mm.
Apparently this is an app that allows individuals who want to come into the country. You can download the app, register on the app, and the United States will send a plane to fly you to the United States. They'll bring you in. And the whole concept is that this app is supposed to streamline immigration and, keep illegal immigrants out. But again, what's really going on with all this immigration?
Yes, that's interesting.
It is definitely, given the fact that one, a lot of the immigrants, Hispanic, non-Hispanic, they're being classified as white. And we know that, again, their birth rates are declining. So what's that about? What's really going on?
Yeah, it's actually pretty overwhelming. I feel like we took a break at a time that it's almost really good thing that we took a break when we did, because the stuff that happened over the break would have just dominated every conversation. And but it was a lot. It's a lot with what's going on. I want to jump back into the chat real quick because Anthony Rogers Wright is answering our question. He said, "We love Dr. West, but I'm sorry to say his campaign is basically over. Those of us on the left are now turning to Dr. Stein, who will be back in Omaha soon, and Claudia de la Cruz." Love to have Dr. Stein back on, by the way. I know that she expressed that she wanted to come back, so definitely would love to talk to her. And sad to hear that about our brother West. He put up a good fight and kind of rallied people, gave us some hope for a second, really, that there can be a different, what could it really look like? What a candidate that's running on love, what can that really look like? You know what I mean?
What does that mean?
Maggie Miller Jenkins says Biden needs to step down. She says there's over 90 million being withheld from the party until he does.
Really?
Yeah, I did hear about that. Was another thing that happened too. Yeah, they're saying they're so mad, they're really mad about the Israel thing, so they're just like, yeah, you got to step down, and you're not going to even get this money until you do. I think his tactic. I think that he's probably trying to. He's going to hang in there. If something happens to him, then it'll go to the vice president. If he steps down, then it wouldn't necessarily go to the vice president. It would be somebody else that got to jump in and run here at this last minute. And who would that be? Who would that be?
Is that like the Speaker of the House type situation?
I'm not even sure. No. It would be somebody. I don't even know who else is running with the Democrats at this point. So, I mean, if he stepped down, who would have a chance against Trump right now?
Man, I mean, to that point, who have a chance? Tony Johnson is saying there's a messaging problem from both Democrats and independents in Nebraska. All of these candidates running but voice still quiet. Project 2025 is item. Those running for school board to Congress can talk.
Mesh Miller Jenkins, we say last minute when most countries max at 36 weeks for campaigns. I would have said Gavin Newsom too, but he didn't express he's running.
Gretchen Whitmer, I believe that was the
Gretchen
governor.
Whitmer,
That was the governor that almost got assassinated from Michigan.
Got shot.
Yeah,
she got shot too.
Her and her husband.
Yeah, man. I like Gavin Newsom too.
Yeah.
Not just because it's California.
Oh, what side? I mean, the pop out happened over the break. Yeah, a lot of things going down.
Pop out happened over the break.
Yeah, a lot of things going down over the break.
Speaking of Biden and Trump, we might have to talk about Kendrick and Drake. It is 8:36 right now. We appreciate everybody who's sticking with us, joining in on the conversation. We're definitely talking to you in the chat. Chimers having some discussion on the chat. We want to jump back into some of the things that we started talking about earlier in the first hour as well. Updates on what's going on with the OHA situation for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We are about to drop our new website. There's going to have the store on it. There's still going to be some shirts left. Some of the Fight the Tower shirts that we've been putting together. Some of the part of the proceeds of this is going to the Underwood Tenants Group so that they can keep on fighting. Putting some money towards the good fight. Shout out to Brother Hassani Lee and his family. Shout out to them coming through to the cookout jam session as well. Really good to see them be able to just kind of let loose and hang. Every time I see Brother Hassani Lee, man, he's serious. He got a serious look on his face because he's doing some serious work.
Man,
he's working. He's fighting. He's in the war. He's in the fight over here. So it's nice to see some smiles on his face at the event and him to just be able to kick back with some friends and have some food. We'll have him on again soon to kind of update us on what's going on there. But it's interesting over the break. A lot of stuff has hit mainstream news in Omaha. And I do think, like Buddy, you said a little earlier, has to do with a lot of people who have been checking out what's going on with the show and listening to Brother Hassani when we bring him on. And I've been following. And you said it's been there's been people who work at OHA that has been instructed not to watch our show. So they are paying attention to the show. Y'all are paying attention. What do we call them?
Monitoring spirits. We see you.
Monitoring spirits. Those who are checking it out but will never admit it. Ghost listeners who check it out and don't comment but always admit it and tell people, share the show and tell people and spread the word. And then the chat chimers. These are the groups that we deal with when we're doing our thing here. So we appreciate all the groups.
Yeah. Even the monitoring spirits.
For sure.
Yeah. So definitely big shout out to Brother Hassani Lee and the whole OHA situation. And just if you're just now tuning in and you miss, us kind of covering that story, just know big news is Brother Lee and his father are currently out of the OHA towers. They did find new housing. They did find more stable, clean, safe situation. Big shout out to Brother Hassani Lee, and I'm looking forward to continuing that story.
His father's health is on the rise because now the doctors can come to his place of residence and care for him.
Man.
Instead of instead of not coming because of bed bugs and stuff like before.
Yeah.
And furthermore, the fight has continued past his family. He'll be the first one to tell you that what he's doing is trying to gather together as many tenants that want to speak up as possible and try to help these other tenants as well. That's what it's about now. The Underwood Tenants group is not just for the Underwood Towers. It's for all of OHA properties, towers, and also satellite areas that they have as well. Because a lot of people are having some of the same issues, some of the same problems. And if now that they're a tenants group, we're trying to solidify them as a tenants group in order to be able to really kind of go to court, take them to court. I mean, they need lawyers, they need all kinds of stuff. So the funds are still being raised for that. And, if you buy a shirt from us, part of the proceeds go to that. Part of the proceeds of the tickets for the cookout are going to go to that as well. So, and also Sky Rhea, artist out of born and raised in Omaha as well. We collaborated with him on a shirt too. And part of the proceeds on this shirt also go to the Underwood Tenants Group as well. So we have a few more of those limited edition first Sky collabs. And
I see you did their first Sky. Yeah.
Sicky Ree.
Yeah, man. Shout out to the homie man Sky Ree of both infamy. If you know about both, yeah. Shout out, dope artist as well. So
Yep,
yeah. If you want to support, definitely let us know if you're interested in copping some of those shirts.
yep,
And
yep.
yeah, we have those on deck. And yeah.
Mhm.
I guess what else we got going on?
Yeah, man. Yeah, like I said, you picked a lot of good articles this morning for what's happening that we get into. I knew that we were going to take some time to talk about this assassination attempt
Oh
and
yeah,
what's going on with this president. This is actually the season that is going to encompass the election. So it's also a ballad of the bullet time too, as well as journalism as activism.
low key,
Um,
low key.
yeah, this is going to
Man.
be huge. Go ahead.
Speaking of that, just kind of my last comment on the whole Trump situation. To your point about the impact and just the whole election, season that's upon us. Big shout out to Senator Terrell McKinney. Put some respect on his name for his Facebook comment and kind of reminding us it's not just about Trump. It's not just about Project 2025. That's not just a national thing. There are local implications. Please be aware. I think somebody mentioned the connection between Project 2025 and the education board races, which again we've talked about here on the show recently. As of all of the money, all of the attention, all of the energy being poured into some of these education board races and some of the other races that you might otherwise overlook, you might want to pay attention. You might want to pay attention because, again, people are being put in place on various levels. And again, the local election, of course, will have the hugest impact on our day-to-day lives. So again, not just the Trump situation, not just nationally, but also please make sure you're paying attention even more so to what's going on locally.
There you go.
Again, shout out to Senator McKinney for reminding us.
Senator McKinney, speaking to him, and Senator Wayne, we're still going to have them back on Mondays in order to talk a little bit more about it. We'll have a little bit more, a little tighter conversation. So definitely prepare your questions in the meantime for them. But we want to continue to have them on because there's a special session that we're going to have to be talking about here with the governor. The governor is really pushing this situation where he's trying to lower property taxes and he's doing all kinds of things to do that some people are not happy about. That was kind of dominating the news here as well, today.
Yeah, I actually saw Governor Pillen is proposing tax increases on like 120 or so different products. So yeah, you
They're,
buying watermelons and
they're,
better
they're,
pay attention.
they're calling it a sin tax.
Really?
Yeah, he's going to be taxing candy, cigarettes, alcohol, all these things that they're actually calling it a sin tax, which is crazy.
That's the official name. That's what they're.
No, it's not the official name.
That's what they're calling it.
Right.
Conservative values. Huh?
They're going to raise taxes on these things that they think you shouldn't be doing in the first place. So you might as well get punished for doing them. And then we're going to take that money and lower property taxes for people. That's one of the things. So there's much more to talk about that as well, because those are all things that they're going to affect us directly as well. So, and it is nuanced conversation because we got homeowners that live in North and South Omaha, people that own properties that want their taxes to be reduced, but at what cost? How? What's that going to affect?
Exactly. That's also my thought. We know that schools rely on property tax funding. What other areas will be impacted by this? So yeah, definitely looking forward to speaking to the senators as they get into this special session and seeing what's going on with the tax situation. But before we get out of here, I did have one more story that I wanted to dive into.
Okay.
This is a big story. This is again a story that we touched on towards the end of last season. Big shout out again to brother Sherman Wells for hooking us up with his cousin. As you mentioned, there's always connections to Omaha on a national level, and not just from the perspective of people just paying attention to what's going on in Omaha, but also just familial relationships and bonds. Again, a lot of us have family members in other areas. And again, this is one of those cases with the instance of Sister Karen Wells, who was the cousin of Brother Sherman Wells and the mother of Brother Amir Locke, who again was murdered by Minneapolis police. Again, we had the pleasure of speaking with Sister Karen and really, really getting a sense of her power towards the end. Actually, I think that was like the last episode of the season. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. We left off speaking to Sister Karen Wells, and since then there has been an update in her fight for justice for Amir. Again, big shout out to brother Johnny No Good, who I believe is also related to Amir, and reminding us to say his name again. Say his name, brother Amir Locke. So again, big shout out to the Locke family, both Sister Karen Wells and his father, brother Andre Locke, who again are suing the state of or the city of Minneapolis, Mark Henneman, in his individual capacity as a Minneapolis police officer, and the city of Minneapolis for the death of Amir Locke. And that lawsuit is moving forward. There was an attempt to stop that effort, but again, the court has denied that motion to dismiss the case. The lawsuit alleges violations of Amir Locke's 4th and 14th Amendment rights, as well as unconstitutional policies and practices by police, and a failure to properly train officers. In this particular case, the officers go in and they have to make a split-second decision about deadly force, if they have to protect themselves or not. That's according to an adjunct professor at Mitchell Hamlin School of Law, who explained qualified immunity can offer protection against liability for officers, saying if you have to make a snap decision, as long as it's grounded in logic, it's probably going to be okay, which again is a lot of the reason why we see a lot of these situations just go with a slap on the wrist, if that. But again, the Locke family is looking to sue on a individual capacity. So we'll definitely see how that plays out with that lawsuit moving forward. And of course, some of the changes that have already been made surrounding the conversation of no-knock warrants and those implications as well. So again, we'll definitely continue to keep an eye on this situation. Of course, there still are documentaries. There still are a lot of information, a lot of conversations that are happening now currently around this whole situation. And again, still, unfortunately, a lot of brothers and sisters being murdered by police. So again, we continue this fight, we continue this conversation, and continue to support the Wells family as they push forward.
Most stuff. Let's take a quick break. We'll come right back and finish off this conversation, get to a little bit of haps today as well. Appreciate you joining us again. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
I'll be Buddi3 Da Gawd. All of you chat chammers, ghost listeners, radio listeners, thanks for joining us and hanging with us through the new format. This is season 1B. This is Journalism is Activism. And we're back to really trying to help, build an army of citizen journalists. So we're looking at you, chat chammers. Get ready.
Man.
Get ready. There's a lot that we are going to do this season to try to hold people accountable. And let's get busy. Stay tuned. We'll be right back, y'all. Welcome back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. I'll be Buddi3 Da Gawd. Man, thanks for everybody that's joined us and came back and came through today. I was hoping that you guys didn't forget about us.
Hey.
Somebody in the chat, actually somebody in Friends of First Sky Omaha posted this and gave it to us to make sure that we paid attention to it. Douglas County Juvenile Justice Planning Forums. They're still going on. So we still got one coming up here July 20th, this Saturday, 9:30, 11:30 at Metropolitan Community College, Fort Campus, Building 22. And definitely check that out. You got questions. You can check it out at strategic.plan at douglascounty-ne.gov.
Gov. We encourage all community members to attend one of 3 meetings to assist Douglas County in identifying what our priority items should be for our next youth services plan. We value your input. So you got 2 more opportunities to go to this Saturday, July 20th, also Saturday, August 10th. It's happening at the Concord Meditation Center on 2910 South 84th Street. A couple of opportunities to go and contribute, man. And, at least if you're not going to contribute, at least find out what they're talking about over there.
Yeah.
And, seeing what's going on. They're planning stuff for juvenile justice. We need to be a part of it because you know what communities this stuff affects first. Ours.
That part.
Yep. There you have it. Appreciate everybody coming in. Kimmer Snap says, I prefer renewed as opposed to recycled. Oh, you guys are talking back and forth. Appreciate that.
Yep.
Cheryl Weston's talking about the fake gold shoes.
the Trump era ones.
Yeah, Trump era ones. Tony Johnson said Omaha School Board may not have any changes if they're just keep recycled candidates and members. No new voice or vision coming with old quiet board members. That reminds me, we will be having Brother Tony Johnson on.
Not
Sorry.
Tony Johnson.
Go ahead.
Ricky Smith. Yeah, Brother Ricky Smith.
Oh,
Yes.
We'll be having Brother Ricky Smith on this season as well. We ran into him over the break as well. And as a matter of fact, we ran into him at the Empowerment Network event, which we wanted to talk about a little bit too. There were some people, we saw a lot of folks there, and it seemed like it was a very enlightening thing for me to see 600 youth getting together, listening and engaging was really encouraging. And also, of course, E.T., man, talking about the things he talked about. So shout out to the Empowerment Network for even Brother Barney. We met with him afterwards. He was even like, yeah, man, you put these things together, but you have no idea like how big they're going to be, how it's really going to impact and affect you. So I think even he was surprised with the success of that event. Shout out to the Empowerment Network for putting those things together, man. We're learning more about them all the time and really understanding like where they're coming from, what they're doing, and the impact. It's real easy to not see it just because of how things get reported or not reported. So that's something that I'm very much looking forward to doing as well. We talk about this all the time, keeping our eye on, as citizen journalists, especially keeping our eye on organizations that are doing things in our communities. This is one of them. I'm glad that I got to know a little bit more about what the Empowerment Network is doing so that I can look at them with a more, what I want to say, just a kind of, instead of being real skeptical about everything that they're doing and all that, I got a more balanced eye to view about, what's happening, what the city would be like without them. And the initiatives, what they're trying to do, how they're trying to go bigger than they're even going. They want to help more folks.
Yeah.
So that was a very cool event to go to, and we ran into some folks there. Shout out! Let us know your experience if you went to that Empowerment Network meeting over the break as well. So really appreciate that very much for everybody that went and can tell us what's going on. What's Pop say?
Should we talk about the gold shoes? He says they should be called Trump era ones. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. But yeah, big shout out to Willie Barney for putting that together. Some things coming. Some things coming down the pipe. I actually had a good conversation with him. There are still step up, things, resources available. So I think Sister Kimber, I think you might have mentioned that you're getting some step up kids to help out. So yeah. Again, if you are a business owner and you need some assistance over the summer, I do believe they're still placing step up kids in positions and things like that. So reach out, man. Again, there was a lot of skepticism, but I'm along with you, Paul, as far as just coming to a more informed position as far as what's going on with the Empowerment Network. So definitely big shout out. But
go ahead.
We're just gonna pivot. I do have a call to action before we get out of here. So
yeah, absolutely.
Just wanted to round back around to a couple of stories that we were talking about earlier as far as DHHS, and there are a few call to actions that I want you to be aware of. Again, there's this federal probe that's going on into the state's management of individuals with mental health issues, and there are still opportunities if you have information to come forward. They're asking specifically the Department of Justice, speaking of to reach out if you have any information. You can still comment by emailing Nicole Zietler, who's a Department of Justice trial attorney. You can reach her at nicole.zietler@usdoj.gov, and I'll copy that into the chat. Again, that's nicole.zietler@usdoj.gov. So again, if you know anybody specifically dealing with mental health issues in a facility, definitely reach out if you have any information, any anecdotes, any stories that you'd like to bring forward. You can reach out to Nicole here at the email. Drop that into the chat. Again, that's nicole.zietler@usdoj.gov. So again, this is still an opportunity to come forward information on that. And then also, as far as child care goes, there is a new hotline that the Department of Health and Human Services did announce this week. A new online portal can be found at neabusehotline-dhhs.ne.gov. We'll also post that into the chat. But again, this is an attempt to streamline the process which people can, again, report abuses of children and neglect. Again, it's an alternative, to the long-standing child abuse and neglect hotline. The idea, the new website not only simplifies the reporting process, but also makes it easier for services to catalog these reports. Having such an important tool available to the public is a vital part of making sure we can take action on reports of abuse and neglect in our state. So again, you can visit that website. That's neabusehotline-dhhs.ne.gov if you have any information or would like to come forward on situations of child care abuse, which again is something that we've been talking about here. Again, the child care situation still not all the way right coming out of the St. Francis debacle, call it.
Man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So
they
there you go.
They're in the weeds on that. They got a lot to go to get out of that situation.
Yeah, man. A lot further to go. So there you go.
We got a lot further to go too. Again, this season is is us showing you about First Sky Omaha being more than just the morning show. We've made some changes to this morning show. So those of you that are chat chimers and ghost listeners, chat chimers, ghost listeners either, and people that are just friends of First Sky Omaha, we're getting on 6:50 on Mondays and Wednesdays from now on to get our hellos and how you doings out of the way, so we can start 6:50. So we can start a solid 7:00 news hour, so that we can be disseminate more news as we can, and we'll use that to do kind of a radio show version of the news hour. Then from 8:00 to 9:00 be more of the discussion. So we appreciate everybody that stuck around today for the discussion, so that we can speak with the chat chimers on a bunch of subjects. You can always add your comments to us, even when we're not live. You can always add those comments and come on in over to Friends of First Sky Omaha, and even First Sky Omaha, the website. Also check out First Sky Omaha News Facebook page as well. A lot of things we're expanding this season. And again, this season is the theme of this season is journalism as activism. So get ready to be tapped. You guys got a lot of knowledge out here. We need to turn that into some resources, and that's what this is about as well. Not just us having a discussion about the news, but also letting them know what our news is. We're disseminating news as well. And one of the reasons why we got into this is because we don't want everybody to tell our stories all the time. We want to tell our stories ourselves, which just reminded me. You can go check out my interview with Lives with Stuart Chittenden, the Lives radio show. You can, wherever you get your podcast, actually get your podcast, go get down on the podcast on it. It's actually got tons of great guests on there, and I had the privilege to be one of them just recently. So check that out. I'm talking a lot about what we need to be doing as citizen journalists on that interview. Again, go to Lives radio show, Lives, wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, or any of those places. I think he's even on Spotify. He's all over the place. So yeah. Most def.
I believe the link is also on the Friends of page. So if you're a part of the Friends of group, check the link out there as well. But yeah, man. Yeah, you dropped some gems in there, man. Yeah, great conversation. Yeah. We're always the ones doing the interview, so this is always nice to be able to just kind of let it out.
Most definitely, and it's always good to see how a professional does it. Stuart Chittenden is an absolute professional with it, so he has some great. He's able to have great conversations with everybody he brings out. He really listens. He really does his research. It's really interesting, man. The difference between a person who is just just kind of halfing it, and then a person like Stuart who's all the way professional with it. So shout out to him for sure. Mama God asked plans to transition more to YouTube. Yeah, we're definitely going to have more of the chat chimer situation on YouTube. We had made the decision to kind of go exclusively on YouTube, but I keep going back and forth on it because I keep feeling like this is a discussion, open discussion, for everyone. So we want to kind of leave all the windows, all the doors open for people to come in and participate and chime into the chat. I mean, that's still a very important thing. I know a lot of people don't want to leave Facebook, we kind of made them go over to YouTube. So there's a lot that we can do on YouTube. I highly encourage, when I'm telling everybody to come and join the chat, I tell them YouTube. But I think we probably need to leave the door open in the other spots as well. Really, it's just only Facebook, and that we had a problem with and didn't want to be on, continue to be on before. So, but like I said, we can leave the door open with Facebook. Really, it's really just about getting as many people in and as many voices as we can in the conversation, so that we can all get on the same page. But yeah, serious chat chimers, YouTube. Hit up YouTube for sure.
Yeah, and furthermore, this website, that'll be the central place for everything First Sky Omaha when we are complete with it, which we are getting very close, very excited about that. But yes, because again, First Sky Omaha, that's also a big part of the narrative of season 1B is pushing it, our focus beyond just this morning show. Again, the morning show has been great, and we will continue to do that along with some of the new changes that we've explained throughout today. But also, getting more into rolling out the content creators camp, bringing that back, getting more into, leaning into our radio station and doing some more things with that. We have some other projects brewing coming up later this year as in regards to, our TV channel and things like that. So very excited about a lot of that and sharing, finally, we've been talking about it for some years, but finally being able to share some of that with you all.
We're gonna go ahead and get out of here. Pops cracked me up because we were talking about this show, and he was under the impression that everybody is sitting here for the whole 2 hours having this discussion. He is probably the only person that's sitting here for the whole 2 hours besides me and you, buddy, listening to the whole show. And he says, and when we go late, it's just like if you took 2 hours out of your day to watch a movie and you said, okay, I got 2 hours, I'm gonna go ahead and check this out, and then we go to 2:20 and 2:25 and 2:30. Yeah, it gets a little dragged out. So we're going to go ahead and shut it down here closer to 9 o'clock as we can. And shame on y'all for not being like Pops and sitting here watching the whole show for 2 hours. Let me just say that.
Shame.
Now, we formatted this in a way that we know that people are going to come in and out. They got things to do in the morning, kids to take to school, going to work, so on and so forth. Come in and spend some time here in the time that you guys do spend here as chat chimers. We really, really appreciate it. We feel like we get a full conversation going, even though, everybody has to come in and out when they can. But always check us out. We'll have these shows on a little later on. We'll have them on the website for you to watch. Right now, they're going to be on the social media sites for you to check out again later on in the day and so on and so forth. So Wanda says, I listened to the whole show. There you go. We got two, y'all.
We'll take what we can get. Thank you.
But yeah, we really appreciate everybody that participates on this, and all the Ghost listeners too. We really appreciate you guys as well. Like every time I go around town, you guys tell me that you guys are checking it out, listening, and enjoying what it is that we're doing and getting informed, which is the point. So shout out to y'all, and we'll see you all Wednesday. We're gonna have another special guest coming in on Wednesday as well. Seems like everybody is cool with the new format, so appreciate that very much. We'll continue to tighten that format up as well. And then we will not have a live show on Friday, but we will have some material for you to check out on Friday as well. We're trying to do like a kind of a news wrap up of the week, and step into that arena there, so we can get that out to more folks, more people. Yeah, Yep. So appreciate everybody who was joining us, and we'll go ahead and get out of here. Buddy, got some words for the people?
Yeah, man. Big shout out to all of you for coming back and joining us. Not forgetting about us, We appreciate you. A few of you have said that our presence, our absence was felt. So we appreciate just the love, man. Appreciate the support. Appreciate the growth, that you have allowed us to do in front of you, before your very eyes. And hopefully will continue to allow us to do, because we're just getting started, man. That's the exciting part. Like, we haven't even really scratch the surface of all that we hope to do with First Sky Omaha. It really is a big situation when you really dig into it, man. And we're looking forward to rolling that out and really putting that in front of you all. So a big shout out to everybody who wants to support. We're still looking, for the help. We'll definitely be reaching out to some of you chat chimers here very soon. And yeah, let's keep on keeping on, y'all. And with that,
yep,
peace.
We're gonna get out of here. Yeah, appreciate it. Black Zam09 said I generally here for the whole show.
Okay.
So was that you, Black Dynamite? That's what's up. Appreciate that. Mama God said, love you, fam. Glad to see you at Kickback Jam session last week.
Yes.
Highlight of my summer. It was being able to be at that cookout jam session. Really appreciate you guys coming through. Yeah. And it felt really good in the room, man. A lot of good vibes, a lot of good people living alive with one another. That's what's up.
Yeah. And also, man, big shout out to Marcy Yates, the Culture House, coming through as always, man. Cannot forget about the Culture House. Definitely, if you have not been to the Culture House, what's wrong with you? Do yourself a favor, go and check them out, man. It definitely is a house of culture. Get you some art, get you some music, get you some clothes. Yeah. Man, yeah, tap in.
Big event they just had was this fashion show. Shout out to Katie Rain and Katie Rain's production. She was one of the people that put on this fashion show there, along with Marcy Yates and them. Legendary folks in the house on that one as well. When they do it again, get your tickets. Highly suggest. I will not miss the next one. That's for sure. Oh, yeah.
It was a real situation. I was a DJ on that thing. And actually, thank you for bringing that up, man. Shout out to my man, Solace the Poet. This is actually one of the pieces that was featured in that fashion show again. So, yeah, local brands, man, support. Feed the poets. Yeah, all about that. Shout out to Solace.
Right on. Wanda Lewis said, City Council tomorrow plans to take homes for the streetcar, something that wasn't talked about before. Taking homes, in an eminent domain sounds like. For the streetcar situation. We'll definitely talk about it. Appreciate it. Shout out to Omaha Tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. Thanks to our elders for allowing us to speak before you. And thanks to you, the chat chimers, allowing us to speak with you. Really appreciate it. Thank you, the ghost listeners, for chiming in and spreading the word as well. And please tell a friend. Special shout out to all the people that have become reoccurring members of the channel, the $10 people, $25 people, the $50 people. Thank you so much. That helps us really keep this thing rolling. And we're in full steam now. So now it's just like every other business, every other nonprofit organization. We're looking for funds in order to keep the ball rolling here. So that's what we're doing. We really appreciate everybody that's done that. Purchase the T-shirts. Part of the proceeds are going to be going to the Underwood Tenant Group as well, but also helps us out as well. So we really appreciate everybody who's done that. Stay tuned for the stores that are going to be hitting the scene pretty soon for more of the merch situation. Merch is going to end up being one of the best ways that you can help us out because we're going to have some pretty regular drops coming up. And hey, man, everybody needs clothes. You know what I'm saying? You can't walk around naked. You got to do something.
Yeah, so, definitely clothes that speak to the mission.
And clothes that speak to the mission, and clothes for the purpose. Everything that we put out, part of the proceeds will go to something because we're an action group, and that's what it is. So shout out to y'all. Shout out to everybody. Thank you very much. We will see you on Wednesday, and you guys take care of yourselves. It's supposed to be hot again,
man.
So, yeah, make sure the air conditioning stuff is working with the old folks and the young ones. Man. And I'm not a dog dude, but you might even need to bring that mug inside. It's so hot outside sometimes. So not in my house though. So, you guys have a good one. We'll talk to you soon.
Peace.
Peace.
By the way, the Vanguard